Yeah, you should. Oh,
You can still go.
we're live.
We are live. So here we are. We are live to Facebook. Oh, you naughty Facebook. We're just going to remove you from Facebook. So we just got the Twitch and the YouTube, but we're still here live in the spoiler room. So happy everyone can join us as we are on our Skate or Die month here. And I have to apologize. I thought for sure that the 2002 Rollerball film, which is what we're discussing today, the remake of the 1975 Rollerball film, took place in a dystopian world to fit the Skate or Die theme. And it doesn't, but it is kind of actually at the same time. It's really, we're going to just get into it. So thank you for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair, and popping your favorite drink, or as I am, mixing my drink right now. Because I need this. This is some Dr. McGillicuddy's cherry and Sprite. I made myself a little spritzer because we're gonna need a little spritzing tonight for Rollerball.
Wait, two things. One, I love that that's Rollerball red, and two, Mark, keep apologizing. You're not done yet. Damn it.
Dude, it's only going to get worse from here, though.
Oh,
Donald G. Jackson coming.
So as you can hear all these wonderful tones from my crew members. First off, we've got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Joe Randazzo is here with us. Hey, Joe. And of course, my right-hand man keeps coming back for more, though I keep questioning. I'm sure he keeps questioning it every week in the last few picks we've had, but nonetheless, we got Mr. Ian Simmons from Kicking the Seat. Hey, Ian, how are you?
I'm great. I just want to dispel this myth, Mark. It's not, I love coming back here. It's one of my favorite things I do every week because we get something like 1975's Rollerball, which we talked about last week, which I'd never seen and is now, aside from the last 30 seconds, is in my pantheon of all-time favorite films. And then we get to talk about the remake, which is so misguided. You want to talk about dystopian reality? It's the reality in which the 2002 movie can exist. So it still kind of works, except in a meta context.
Yeah, well, you never know what you get here in the spoiler room. It's kind of how my mind works.
Although Ian and I both last week made comments about, man, if this wasn't as good a movie as it was, a lesser movie would have done this. And then like 2 minutes later, Ian goes, oh, no, a lesser movie would have even done this. And those two things happen in the remake.
They do. They do. Hey, Joe, give us the synopsis of Rollerball 2002, the remake of Rollerball 1975.
It's not really a remake. That's the thing that kind of struck me, is it's a completely different story. So LL Cool J is a professional rollerballer who who has a pre-established relationship with Chris Klein, who is part of this group that's like just kind of I don't know what you'd call it. They kind of like lay on things, like
their body skates. Yeah, they do extreme body skating. Where
is that what it's called? It's body skating.
Like street, I think so, or street skating. Yeah,
I wrote it down in my notes as butt skating because that's pretty much what it was. Yeah,
yeah. In any case, yeah.
So yeah, he finds him doing this, helps him escape the cops, and tells him, hey, I'm doing this thing, I'm making a lot of money, and how else is a loser like you going to get laid and make lots of money? Which is, a pitch if I ever heard one. At first, he turns him down. He sees apparently that there's a bust going on where he lives, and I guess he realizes, I can't really go home right now. So he decides to call up LL Cool J, take him up on his offer to become a professional rollerballer in somewhere in the East, somewhere around the former Soviet Union. I forget precisely where.
How could you forget where it was, Joe? It says East Asia, but the biggest letters on the map are Kazakhstan.
Yeah,
this
Kazakhstan.
is a few years before Borat. Did I lose people?
Oh, you guys lose me?
You're there, and hey, we got Joe. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
I don't know what just happened there. Yeah. So this was Kazakhstan? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, this is supposed to, they do mention Kazakhstan. I think that's where we first pick up for the first match was Kazakhstan.
And where we get Paul Heyman being handed a sheet by an assistant and going, oh, okay, we changed the bio on the kid because apparently they're just going to bullshit Chris Klein's history. I don't know how – I may have missed it because I was watching this late last night. I don't know how long the time frame is because apparently later in the movie they refer to Chris Klein as the greatest to ever do this.
Well, but he's also the hottest rookie of the game. So he's the hottest rookie game. It's like 10. It's not even a year. I mean, the way they play it, they don't really say how long. We just suddenly pick up to where they're talking about this new kid, and you realize, oh, they must be talking about Jonathan Cross. Yes, he has the same name as
well, except he's not Johnny E now.
He's not Johnny E now, though. He's Jonathan Cross. Johnny C, yeah. But in any case, he's the hottest rookie around, but also one of the greatest to play it this game. But
very quickly, which means there are not a lot of very good players. But when you consider that the guys who are running it are purposely having people killed to boost the ratings, it becomes clear why nobody ever really could, why you could become the greatest of all time in 1 year, because they can kill you tomorrow if they want to.
Here's the thing. This thing is supposed to have been going on for a long time. Yeah, folks, there are more potholes in this than a main street in the Midwest, okay? There are so many plot holes in here, plot holes, that it's crazy. This is supposed to be something that LL Cool J's Marcus Ridley's supposed to have been in for a while and made lots of money, and then he's been doing for a while, yet it seems like this is a newer thing because the guys running it suddenly realize their ratings go up when people are fighting, but it's like done as like a revelation while they're doing this match with Jonathan.
They've also already pre-planned some violence for the ratings. So that's the other part that doesn't make any sense.
Right. They act like the violence, ramping up the violence for the ratings is a new idea, but at the same time they had ideas already to ramp up violence to increase ratings, and oh my god, my eyes have crossed. No, sorry. It's okay. So yeah, you have Rollerball, this third world competition that's being broadcast around the world. Jean Reno trying to be a bad guy here, as the lead guy who created Rollerball.
Well, it's everywhere except the United States.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They're trying to get on cable in the United States.
Right. That's the big thing. And that's why they keep Johnny Cross around, is because he's an American. He's a good looking because he's Chris Klein and he's a good player. So, yeah, they figure they could use this guy as their workhorse, and they're in for the U.S. market, which is why they've kind of been also grooming him, basically. And his buddy Marcus is along for the ride. They're underworld guys, so they handle gambling. They're building what's going to be like a new Vegas area in Kazakhstan, where they've got this mining town, which is where Rollerball takes place. And I wasn't trying to think too much of all these elements when I watched it, but the minute you just start thinking of anything in this film,
it falls apart. Yeah,
it falls so apart. It so falls apart that you're just like, nothing's making a lick of sense. But then you get these hints of areas that call back to the original, or try to a little bit, like the relationship with Alexis and Jonathan and some other things. I mean, Ian, do you see little hints of them? No, not at all.
Aside from the fact that Jonathan has a relationship, that's it. I mean, the complexity of, he had a wife who got, basically taken away by a corporate executive, and so they have all these kind of clones that are meant to keep him happy. None of that's in there. It's puzzling. I mean, I'm a big fan of the original Rollerball as of last week, And so I thought, okay, how can 2002 mess this up? And it turns out in every conceivable possible
Epically.
way. I mean,
All the subtext is gone. Every bit of it.
all the subtext is gone. The entire point of the movie is gone. It reminds me, and flashback to 2002. I was a big MTV reality TV junkie. And I think it was an episode of Road Rules where one of the challenges was like it took place on the set of Rollerball, and the prize for the winning team was they got to be extras in it or something. And they actually had Chris Klein and John McTiernan, the director, like participate in this episode. And I kept, for some reason, this is stuck in my head for decades, like the triple dent gum jingle. At one point, McTiernan is talking to the contest winners about like being in this movie, and he keeps going, yeah, I mean, it's a real film. It's a real film. Like he was trying to convince himself while he was making it that he was doing something worthwhile. And I don't know why that stuck with me. I kept thinking about that watching this movie. It's a complete puzzlement. Chris Klein is wrong. I mean, you watch James Caan in Rollerball, and we talked about this last week. He had the build of a 1940s like football player, like a real leatherhead. Chris Klein looks like he could be knocked over by a stiff breeze. And he had the doe eye. Wonder like, where did the breeze come from? There's just nothing. There's no gravitas. There's nothing in here. LL Cool J, they try and turn him into Moon Pie, and that just does not work. Rebecca Romaine, I don't know what she's doing in this movie except showing some pretty amazing side boob.
Which she'd only appeared in this PG-13 movie if they cut her nude scene and gave her a facial scar. Apparently, that's the only way she was going to take on this role, was cut her nude scene, which you almost get a nude scene anyway in here, but nonetheless, you never get a full-on nude scene like in a few other shots. Which, yeah, there was.
Yeah, it's like full-on Starship Troopers in some of those locker room scenes. And I don't want to get hung up on that because that's not the point of the film, except to say the only interesting thing about this movie really was, how is this a PG-13 movie marketed to like the MTV generation, and you've got all this, flesh hanging out? I don't know, but like all of the stuff that they changed was for the worse. Not even just in terms of the idea, but the execution. I mean, just dull chase scenes, dull intrigue, except for the finale, which we'll talk about, involving a shotgun stuck on the wall, which is like something that the Warner Brothers cartoonists would have said, no, that's just too outlandish. No one would buy that. Everything is wrong about Rollerball. It's only worth watching as a contrast to the original film. If you have no interest in watching the 75 version, skip 2002 because you're going to be bored. And, I'm not even angry about it. I'm just fascinated by how they could go so wrong.
The thing it did right was that it didn't try to go 2 hours and 5 minutes like the other one. This was a clean 98.
True. Yeah.
So that made me, when I turned that on last night, my first words were, oh, thank God it's not 2 hours. It's 90 something minutes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We were talking about this last week, how I would love to see an updated version of Rollerball, but we're not going to get it now, at least not for another 50 years, because the stink of the O2 version. I mean, it's 23 years ago now, which I can't believe that's the case, but still people are going to be like, no, that movie was terrible. What do you want to do another Rollerball? Maybe a Hulu series or something like that. But as far as a feature film, I don't think so.
And I mean, the thing is, it's got, John Frankenheimer, who made some of the greatest action movies ever. This should have worked, and it doesn't.
It was John McTiernan.
I'm sorry, John McTiernan.
You've got the Die Hard guy who this is the same guy who directed Die Hard, Hunt for Red October, Last Action Hero, the Thomas Crown Affair, and then Rollerball.
You forgot Predator.
I did forget Predator. Sorry, he did do Predator.
John Frankenheimer for some reason?
You said Frankenheimer.
Yeah, you said Frankenheimer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean McTiernan.
John McTiernan. But this is a guy who's directed some of my favorite 80s, early 90s action films, and then he was given this. I'm guessing it's the fact you got 3 people involved on the script on.
I'm wondering if he was a fan of the original. He was like, "Oh hell yeah, I'll do a remake of Rollerball." And this script is the one that popped up on his desk. And he's like, "Oh Jesus Christ! I promise this is a real movie." You know what that actually reminded me of? Because I'd never seen this interview, but if you guys have ever seen Neil Breen talking about how his movies need to be aired because they are real theatrical prime time films. That's what that comment reminds me of. Is someone trying to convince himself or convince him? No, this isn't a B movie. This isn't schlock. This isn't a midnight movie. This is a real movie.
I love Neil Breen so much. I want to live in Neil Breen's world because man, this film, it just boggles you. You know what it is, though? And I realized it while just talking here and realized how they approached it. You know what they did? They took Rollerball, which we discussed last week. Please check out the episode. You could tell we felt completely opposite about that film versus this one because it was made completely opposite. It's made to say something that's subtle. This is literally a sports ball film. You could easily change Rollerball to pretty much any like variation sports, like an extreme underground football league or an extreme soccer league. Or you could have taken it because it takes away any of that like government subtext type of thing that we were talking about last week. And it basically took the concept and made it a sports movie. They looked at the first 10 minutes of the original Rollerball and go, you know what? We could just expand that for 90 minutes and we'll just make that a movie.
Although I do have to say, the stunt people, again, amazing work. There's some good work on this. It's just not from anything regarding plotting or directing or acting or any of that.
I'm going to have to take your word on it. I didn't see any stunts in this movie because you can't actually see anything while you're yawning. I mean, that's the thing. Like, what is so great about the original Rollerball, I mean, among the many other things, but the sport itself, it's very simple. As we discussed last week, it's like a giant roulette basin and it's roller derby mixed with football. And you've got two teams in distinguished color costumes going at each other. In this movie, they're like, hey, we need to spruce this up. We need to make it a cross between American Gladiators and Double Dare with all sorts of ramps and new rules. And we're going to have computer graphics mixed in with the real, fight choreography. And it's all very confusing. Everyone is in crazy outlandish costumes. All of them are really dumb. On top of that, the gold team they fight early on, I love this. The names of the fighters, Skullface, the Guillotine, and Michael the Assassin.
Like these. Well, that's because Philip the Assassin was taken, so they had to go with Mike the Assassin. Yeah, the guys they wear more masks. And the thing is, there's like little flinting ideas in here, but they really don't go anywhere. We get this scene where, they keep playing at like, oh yeah, we remember the original. So they keep bringing back the idea that Jonathan is more well off than the rest of the players, that they don't really get paid. He only gets paid like the high end players get paid. And so there's kind of this,
again, a rookie.
Yeah. Kind of implied like, financial discourse. And they even have at one point a random miner revolt in the town that they're in because they're going to go check out this one guy because it suddenly becomes this mystery, and he follows in his very fancy sports car and it gets firebombed and he's like, "This is my car." And I'm like, dude, what the you're like, I'm like, oh my God. And
Rebecca Romaine points out it's actually the company's car. They'll just give you another one tomorrow.
See, and I didn't mind the Aurora character because I saw like potential. And that's the problem. As you're watching this film, there's like, oh, there's potential. It could go that way. No, it doesn't go that way. Oh, there's potential. They could do this with this character. No, they're not going to do that. There's potential. Nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to make an action sports ball movie is what they literally did. This film like throws out like anything that might have a little bit of meaning as a one sentence tag in a scene. And then we move on to more Rollerball because yeah.
Well, the thing that's frustrating is that in 2002, I mean, we're still talking about, it's post 9/11. We're on the ramp up to, and now I don't know how long this movie had been in development, like if it had started in 2000 or something. So none of that would have been on people's minds. But we're still in the post 9/11 world leading up to the war in Iraq. So there's all sorts of people talking about the confluence of like government and corporations and war and, bread and circuses and all that stuff. It's hot.
Yeah.
You could have literally taken the script from the 1975 Rollerball, change nothing else about the production except get rid of those ramps and double dare shit, and just said, we're going to remake this movie in the truest sense. And, according, per Ian's wishes, change the last 30 seconds. And it would have been a relevant, thrilling, probably successful movie because people were into that stuff. I know I would have loved it at that point, but they had to change everything and just give us fluff. And I don't think this movie did any kind of business, did it?
No. I mean, even on the presser, and I had looked up some trivia earlier. I guess even while on the press tour, LL Cool J stated that the film sucked, but it was his duty to promote the film. Apparently he said that in 2003, so that was just after the film was released. He's like, yeah, film sucked, but I had to promote the film. What's interesting is both Nick Cage and Keanu Reeves would have taken Jonathan Cross role.
Okay, one of my friends today had mentioned that I was going to be talking about the 2002 Rollerball, and he went, with Keanu Reeves. No, Keanu wasn't in this. Chris Klein was. So that might be why he was referencing Keanu.
That's why he was.
Keanu was supposed to be in this.
That's why he was referencing it, is because Keanu was supposed to be in this. He dodged the bullet. Nick Cage did The Family Man instead of this film, which is his better film. I think he did a better choice out of the two.
Well, but here's the thing. It's interesting you say that because the Nicolas Cage being in this role, he was still older at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering. I'm wondering if they had a script for him that was more in line with the James Caan version, because you can't do the 2002 script with Nicolas Cage. It makes no sense.
Unless Nicolas Cage is in the LL Cool J role.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
he could have been. Yeah, they just said that Nicolas Cage was tried out for the. No, they said he tried out. Yeah, he just tried out for the role. Keanu was going to be Jonathan Cross, which would have been interesting to see Nicolas Cage and Keanu Reeves.
Even at that point, Keanu Reeves would have been a little older too.
Yeah, he would have been.
We're talking like 15 years since Bill and Ted at this point. Nearly a decade since Speed.
Yeah, but he looks younger. I mean, he looks younger. So
yeah, he was right in the middle of. I mean, he's only in his 50s now, so he would have been in his early 30s back then, because he was still like in the midst of the whole Matrix trilogy.
Right.
So it still could have worked, but again, you're right. Chris Klein, I don't care about. I mean, I found him moderately entertaining in some movies. I think he was all right in American Pie, but I think he peaked in Election, the movie that put him on the map. So the fact that other actors that I really like and respect avoided this movie, I think that's great by me.
Klein almost felt a little lost in this film. Like he wasn't quite sure what this character was. I mean, he was like young gunshot type of guy, but again, it's really weird. It's got to be the script, because McTiernan is a definitely a solid director, and in this one, we opened the film with the body skating, this underground body skating, which if they're caught by the cops, you got to refuse it and yada yada. And then they're doing this, and then the cops are coming after him. One guy flies through the window of a shop.
That it was a Japanese restaurant. Now that was a great bit of stunt work. I got to give it up for that. Yeah,
there was. So the guy goes flying through a window. He's racing. Cops are there. Oh no, he's in trouble. And then his buddy, LL Cool J, we're just going to call them by their names. LL Cool J comes out and rescues him because he happens to know where he is. Marcus does, in this Porsche, manages to pick him up. And he hops into the passenger seat and they start having a conversation like he just picked him up from the airport. It was the weirdest thing. He's like, "Oh man, when'd you get back in town?" "Oh, hey, yeah. And I'm like, what the cops just saw you pick you, and they're not coming after you.
But he's extreme, Mark. Like he doesn't need anything. Like he just hops into the car. He's not even facing the right way. That's how extreme he is, bro. He's facing backwards in that seat.
He is. He pops it in his face. But and that's the thing is you don't get really behind Chris Klein's character because he's not really playing a character. You really feel like he's just reading his lines in here. He doesn't feel like a person. LL Cool J's got natural charisma, so his character when he's even he feels at least a little bit like he's trying in here. Gene Reno said the check's cleared, so let's go. You got Naveen Andrews in here, which is just before Lost. So before he was big in Lost, and so and Rebecca Ramin, you've got some. It's just it's such a mess, and you're trying to figure out what are you trying to do with this movie, and it's kind of the rebellion against the bad guy who's trying to exploit the workers for the ratings and kill people and show do the blood sport type of thing. But it's like our team, you guys can correct me if we're wrong, but it's like until the very end, our team seems to be the only one that has any type of feelings whatsoever.
Well, but that's that's kind of keeping with the original, right? Because but that also only works when you're in that truly dystopian future where it's a very mercenary sport. They're out there to win, and sometimes winning means killing a whole lot of people on the track. James Caan's version of Jonathan E. on that interview, they're like, yeah, you have the record for the most number of kills during one game, 13. Like, wow. And that's just the number of people he took out.
Right.
So yeah, but again, there's what this is like a generic rebranded version of the Running Man. Yeah. Without the smarts or the sensibilities of the Running Man or Rollerball. It just it becomes this mess. And the thing that bothers me is I keep going back to this. Like this was very much an MTV kind of promoted production. It's PG-13, so you want to just sell it to the kids. But why not give them something smarter? They can handle it. And the proof is that Rollerball was a kind of a generational cult classic, and people watched that when they were younger, and it kind of resonated, and that had really big themes snuck in with all the violence and stuff. This movie's just horrendously dumb, and it's dull, and that's the biggest sin a movie can commit to my mind.
Like 20 minutes into it, I was watching it with Sean, who's been on the show a few times. I kind of turned to him and was like, this does seem more like the Running Man. And there was this Lucio Fulci movie that Troma picked up where it was like a post-apocalyptic thing. And it was it was before The Running Man, I think, though. Where like there were teams that were like on motorcycles trying to take each other out and all this stuff. And I do not remember the name of it. It's been so long since I've seen it. I was like, it kind of reminds me of those two movies kind of combined. So, yeah, The Running Man is – I think perfect because it basically becomes the dumb man's Running Man.
Well, and then, for me, being a wrestling fan, I did enjoy Paul Heyman in here. As the announcer, because he's always such a character. He's always on. I liked him as the announcer at least because it was fun. I forgot he was in here until they do the scene on the steps, and I go, oh shit, that's a young Paul Heyman. EC Dub. And
it turned out to be in the movie quite a bit. I thought he was just going to be like here and there. No, he's in the movie quite a bit now.
And there was, I swear to God, there was one cutaway to where there was one shot of Shane McMahon in here.
Yeah, Shane McMahon's in a couple of shots. Which, bringing it back to Ian's point earlier about how Chris Klein just kind of looks like a guy, a stiff breeze will knock over. You were involved with clearly WWE.
Yeah.
Why didn't you try to get somebody from The Rock? The Rock in 2002.
Would that have been post Scorpion King?
Maybe that might be why Rock maybe was already too big.
He might have. They might not have been able to afford him.
Well, I want to go back to
this Scorpion King was the previous year. So,
but this was
no, it was the same year. I'm sorry, Scorpion King was the same year. So,
but this was at the very least, because I remember I was a huge wrestling fan during this time period, or at least when this was, because I remember there were rumors that Paul Heyman was kind of dodging his duties in ECW because he ran ECW, and he kept flying to LA for this movie, and I think he was trying to get money from people to put into ECW because ECW was bleeding money. So at the very least, that means this kind of began maybe pre-production, pre-9/11, because this would have been 2000. ECW was done by January of 2001. So yeah, so the timeline, maybe that's why it didn't really pick up on the whole dystopian post 9/11 thing. Is maybe a good chunk of this was already in the can by that point. I don't know when the production dates were.
Well, I mean, we could also talk about, I mean, before 9/11, it was like the dry run for paranoia is the whole like Y2K thing of like, is the world going to end because we can't reset our clocks? But I want to go back to Paul Heyman. I have had and have no idea, no context for who this person is, except he's a wrestling promoter, announcer, owner, something like that. I did not like him at all in this movie. And the reason is because I didn't have that context. I just felt like I was watching a guy that they hired because they couldn't get Penn Jillette. This is completely a Penn Jillette role delivered by a guy who cannot be Penn Jillette because he could have the exact same script, but I can just imagine him, especially with a bit more of that gravel in his voice, doing this performance.
One of the things that I love too is how complicated they made the rollerball rules, because we didn't get rollerball rules in the first one. It was just you make around the track, take the ball, it gets launched, you grab it, you throw it in the goal. That's about, I think, all they gave us in the 75. In this one, we get the description of what the rules are, which is the ball is launched out from the pneumatic tube. Then a guy catches it. Then before they can score, the guy has to go up a ramp and jump to another tunnel. Basically, there's the people tunnel above everything else in the arena. So they got to go up the ramp, over the tunnel, down, and then they got to do a figure 8 in the ring, and then they got to jump a ramp, and then they throw the ball.
I think they have to make that circuit twice. There's something about doing something twice before.
Well, yeah, they make the circuit once to grab the ball. They go up, they jump over the middle of the tube, come down. Then they got to go in the enemy territory, come back in their territory, jump up and throw when Paul Heyman is describing the rules, I'm just like sitting there going, he got about halfway through it. I checked out because I'm like, I don't fucking care. I don't care.
And that's part of the problem here is that the original one, you didn't need for the announcer to be one of the main characters.
Right.
Here you needed it because they made it so goddamn convoluted.
It was, yeah.
Well, on top of that, there might have been some description of the game in the announcer's kind of color commentary in the original, but what really sold the sport and how it operated was the brief scene in that kind of gym where Jonathan is giving the rundown to the new recruits.
Right.
And it's the scene where he has the big guy like go around the track and he kind of dodges him. He's like, your ears are the most important thing or something like that. That was a great illustration. You got the heft of the ball. You got the importance of, the reflexes and the kind of the acrobatics of it, but it wasn't all in dialogue. A lot of it was in the action and in the situation, and you totally bought it. This, yeah, you're right, Mark. My eyes glazed over too, especially because they kept cutting back between this like horrible 2002 CG graphics of a demo of the course versus like the actual people, which made it even more confusing. Like, well, who is this person and what team are they on and what part of I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing here? Why'd you make it so complicated? I'm like, and then just talking tonight with you guys right now, I realize what this is. our team of heroes here, our hero team, the only ones who really care about not dying or whatnot. This is like Solar Babies crossed with Rollerball.
Roller babies.
Roller Babies.
Oh man, and Solar Babies was another one. You were spared that one. Ian, that one.
You were spared that one.
I still got to catch up on that movie.
But
Really don't.
But you know, they do this thing, and then our guys, we see that they're rich, and then they go to a club, and then our guy Jonathan is having a quote unquote secret affair with Aurora, because of course you take the two hot looking young characters and they're the love affair, of course, because we're talking late 90s, early 2000s. You're going to throw that in there. But you don't really feel anything between these two. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Rebecca's actually trying to act. Her character Aurora she's playing a character in here, and I like that, which just makes Chris Klein's performance look even less. Between LL Cool J and Rebecca, when he's in the scene with them, he's just like, I'm like, are you even there, dude? Because LL Cool J and Rebecca, they're acting, and Chris is reading lines. It really feels like he's not playing a character, whereas at least Rebecca's Aurora feels like a character. Marcus feels like a character. And come on, Ian, they do the whole gimmick where Marcus, aka not Moon Pie, gets put on a stretcher because he got hit. The whole follow the stretcher thing, you know, they hit a few of those points from. But folks, oh my god, okay, it's 2002. Mini DV cameras. Let me take you back a little bit. Mini DV cameras are starting to come out. They've got a night vision mode.
Oh yeah,
camera, right?
Yeah, this scene.
Oh, so there's a whole sequence in here when Marcus and Jonathan realize the game is corrupt. Now they realize that the stakes are being raised higher. Now they've come to this realization that they could be killed now by Alexis for ratings. They decide to bolt. So there's this whole thing where the team got them money and they sneak out after the injury to Marcus, and they get on their bike and they go off into the desert. Night scene. Now, anybody who's ever watched movies in night scenes know you use a blue filter or you have a light and you make it feel like the light's coming from the moon or whatnot, but you can still see what's going on. But everybody goes, okay, I buy it. It's night. Nay. What do they do here, Joe? You're a guy involved in filmmaking.
They just show it in the green night vision. They don't do anything with it. They just.
I honestly,
it's like looking at a video game through, like. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh no, I was going to say I watched the version of this that was on the archive.
Internet archive, yeah.
And when it got to this point, because this is like a 10-minute, if not longer scene.
Yeah.
And I started to wonder, is my graphics card gone bad? Like, what is going on with this scene? Why is this still all green? Especially because no one's wearing night goggles. And it's not like they're being spied on by someone who's wearing night goggles. It's just the scene, they decided to shoot it in night vision. And it doesn't make any damn sense. And it's kind of like that scene from Gremlins 2, where the gremlins start messing with the projector and you want to just stand up and be like, hey, what's going on here? Like, no, it's deliberate. It's a real film. It's a real film.
Yeah,
go ahead, Joe.
I don't understand why they did that either. Maybe they just thought it looked cool.
Well, I mean, it was the newer gimmick with like home cameras and that back in the day, because I got a few years later, I'd get a DV camera. That's what I used for shooting my early episodes of the Final Cut and that. And it had a night vision one, mode, and you click it and that's what it looked like. And it just threw me off though, that a big budget film like this, a supposed Hollywood produced in theater film, went to literal gimmick night mode from your home video camera. And the problem is it even looked like video. It didn't look like film at all. It looked like digital.
Huh? It might have been digital video.
It might have been, but it looked so home movie-ish. I'm like, oh my God. And that's the thing is you think, oh, it's going to be a brief scene or whatever. No. There's a whole action sequence done in IR mode or infrared mode to where it's green. And the problem is if you ever seen like night vision goggles or even that, when you get the headlights of the car in the camera, you can't see shit.
And this ends up being like a good portion of the climax of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why it's so puzzling, especially if they wanted to show off the new technology, then just have a couple of, it could have been even a cool experience for the audience. Like a couple of the shots are done in this filter and you're wondering, oh, is this Jean Reno's characters spying on our heroes, but the heroes are unaware of it. You know, they think they're doing stuff in secret or something, but it turns out they're being watched and let the audience kind of figure that out. Like, oh, they're being surveilled. But no, it's just, again, like everything else in this movie, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, and then what I love is there's like normal foreshadowing elements that go nowhere, namely in this whole chase sequence, this whole IR vision chase sequence, which being all in green and then headlights just washing out everything so you can't even tell where everything is. But then they drop the line of, hey, this is a Harley, not an off-road. How fast are you going? They throw in this humor of, 120K. Oh, it's in kilometers. He's like, no, it's not a mile per hour. And we're on a dirt road. But they do nothing with it, that this motorbike isn't an off-road bike, yet it handles like an off-road bike. He literally takes it over a sand dune and drives it down a sand dune to apparently the border to Russia, which our guy Alexis shows up with his guard who has this high-powered sniper rifle he just happened to bring with him.
Yeah. Who throughout the movie I kept thinking was either David Warner or Michael York the entire time. And I'm like, wait, is that? Because the guy kind of looked like either one of them depending on the shot. But yeah, imagine though, your escape to freedom is trying to get past the Russian border into Russia. That's insane.
Yeah, and they don't make it. And what's funny is, again, this is where you need a different leading man. Well, you need a lot of different things for this film, but don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to slam the actor himself, but in this film, within the context of this film and the way his character written, his buddy Marcus, he watches him the first time. They get the sniper rifle shoots their bike, and so they dump, and they're like, we both can make it. And Jonathan's like, no, Marcus, you've got a wife and family. You got to go. So Marcus hops on his bike. And there's a wonderful little moment. I did like the one moment where the sniper guy was just about to shoot him. And Alexis goes, no, I want to see if he makes it. Because the Russians raised the bridge up. So it's kind of, like a la Maximum Overdrive in that, where the bridge goes up. And so it is a great little moment to where Marcus, and we see this in the distance, Marcus hops on his bike and he makes the ramp and he's like, oh, okay. And now shoot him. And so he shoots him and apparently kills Marcus, supposedly in the distance, very unceremoniously, actually. And Jonathan Cross seems sad about it for all of 30 seconds.
Gotta keep it rolling. Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
But that was the thing. I literally had to turn to Sean and go, wait, did they kill him? Is he dead? Because it just happens and that's it.
Well, and it's the classic movie thing of like, we don't actually see him die, so you expect that he's going to show up at the end like leading the resistance or doing something else, because unless
but he
we see
doesn't.
the body, right?
He just doesn't. That's just the end of that's the end of LL Cool J in this movie.
Well, and especially when they drop the idea of, well, he's got a wife and family. And the reason I bring that up is because later on, Jonathan Cross is talked to Sanji, played by Naveen Andrews, who's kind of trying to pull some strings behind Alexis. He's trying poorly to do his own thing. And so he talks to Jonathan and say, hey, you're more popular. You can ask for anything because they need you, because they want to make it into the American market. And they figure if they have an American star, they can make it in America. He's like, oh, okay.
But didn't they already have that with LL Cool J?
Shh. Shh. They did, Joe, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get. Anyway, there's another reason. We're talking.
There might be another reason, yeah.
There might be another reason why they didn't think they could get it with LL Cool J. Though if I was a TV executive, I said, sure, throw your blood sport on there if LL Cool J is your hero. He's got at least some, he's at least got some personality. But anyway, so there's this key moment where they're planning out the casino and stuff because of Rollerball, Alexis's, and Jonathan comes up and he goes, okay, you know what? No, I'll take your deal, because he offers him just all kinds of insane money and everything. Alexis does. And there's no moment, and I was hoping for it. There's no moment to where Jonathan goes, no, I don't want the 100,000. Please send the 100,000 to my best friend's wife and kids who you just killed. But he doesn't do that. He goes, nah, I'm like, dude, your best friend just died, and you don't seem like remorseful. You're not like, try to pull a deal to help his family at all. I'm like, what are you doing here, dude? Unless
he's planning to use whatever money or power he gets from screwing over this organization to, like, at the end of the movie, help out Marcus's family. That would have been kind of interesting, but no, we don't even get that. It's just like with the Marcus character, he disappears from the movie, and he might as well not have even existed. Yeah,
I mean, and you don't even need to do much. You could have just had like a news report that a sports news report that he's donating part of the money that he's gotten from this to nothing.
Well, but also partially because we wouldn't see that, because there's the cover story that he had contracted malaria or something like that. That's why he was no longer in the game. I mean, that was kind of interesting, and in a better movie, that's more in line with the Rollerball universe from 1975 of just like the cover up. Although they wouldn't have even needed to do that in the 75 version, because they had complete control over everything, and the people were okay with it because they didn't know any better. I said last week that the Rollerball 75 was like 1984. The Orwell novel, but it's not. It's like Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, where the people are so into their own, satisfaction and, hedonism that they don't care that their freedoms have been completely stripped away of them. This movie goes to the 1984 model, where it's all about the evil corporations and governments trying to take things away from people and put them down. So once again, it's exhibit 378 as to how this movie does not understand where it even comes from.
No, but yet they try to play it at the very end when they suddenly realize they remove all the rules, and you had the one really bad guy team, which they play this angle where Jonathan, again, this is dumb as a box of rocks hero, goes, oh, I'll come back as long as you trade Aurora away, and I don't want her anywhere near the game. And he trusts the bad guy going, yeah, sure. Okay. And he literally trades Aurora to the opposing team for the championship game. So she's there, and, they like subdue her or whatnot, but then they try to pull this like Spartacus thing at the end, to where all of a sudden all the players realize that they should be killing one another. But then this is just getting too much, because Jonathan Cross just will not go down no matter how many times they beat the shit out of him. And then everybody kind of stops playing. And then they do this really badly edited chase around the track. And then he does this flying kick towards Alexis, who's sitting next to where the goal is, and hits him with his skates. In this final showdown with Alexis, Ian, you mentioned it. Take us through this epic ending of fighting the final boss.
I'll give them points for, I'll call it originality, but there are just some ideas that are so stupid you can't even believe that someone would utter them. So Jonathan comes crashing through the window of the corporation, the corporate box.
Yeah.
Alexis runs downstairs to this like place where they have, it looks almost like it's like a rack of pool cues, but
it's a
inside
lounge
it's like
and
a bunch of guns. I couldn't quite tell what was going on.
Yeah,
there.
that's what it is. It was a pool cue rack that was front for the gun rack.
Okay, I thought I saw that. Again, rolling your eyes so much you can't, you get things get out of focus. But he goes and he tries to get the guns out, but of course the guns are all locked up and he doesn't have the key. So when Jonathan E comes rollerblade running down the stairs, he comes into the room and John Renault turns around. He breaks one of the guns like out of its bracket.
Yeah.
And he bends it down and he shoots. He gets off a shot. I'm like, I don't even know how that works. Like really, because
the bar was on the trigger, so he just pushed it back so that it would fire forward.
Is that
yeah,
is that a real
the
thing
bar,
that you
the
can
bar
do?
was because the bar was going through the trigger hole. So when he broke it down, he broke the stock and was able to pull it. And he managed to find 2 shells because most of the ammo was gone. And he was trying to figure out, because as he was going through the gun cabinet, all of his ammo seemed to be gone suddenly. And the keys he had didn't work with the locks he had. It's like, what the hell? So he's been betrayed by someone, Sanjay, which you saw coming. And so that, he breaks it off. He manages to load 2 shots in the shotgun, breaks the stock, and shoots at our hero.
I'm just trying to think of the logistics of it because it looks like it just like kind of comes.
Well, it just
down.
comes straight down. Yeah, you
right.
can't really.
And then he jerks it off, right? And then it fires.
He cocks it. Yeah, and then he grabs it, and when he pushes the bar against the trigger, it goes off, and he. Yeah, but our guy, I don't even know. I forgot what our hero did to him.
He's holding like a shield, which apparently can shield him from a shotgun blast.
Right.
I don't even know what it was. Was it like, it looked like a trash can lid?
Yeah, it was like
a stool. Okay.
Yeah.
So apparently it was a stool that he
stool. Yeah, that's right. It was a stool
that he uses as like a shield that could apparently shield him from a shotgun blast somehow.
Well, it was a steel stool, so
Yeah, and he just kind of beats him to death with it.
Yeah, that's right. And then Sanjay's like, "Oh, hey, we got a good thing going here. Where do you think all the ammo went? Oh, yeah, I did this because I wanted to backstab Alexis." And then, this thing that is on the bar, he manages to angle the shotgun with the second shot and shoots Sanjay with it.
You explained it to me, Mark, but I still don't understand it. And I also don't believe that these 2 characters who use this technique to get the shots off would understand it either. There's a big difference between knowing that it can work in the real world and believing that there are characters who would know how to make that work in the real world. And I don't buy it.
And how would he know that there was another shell in there too? I don't remember if he saw him.
No, he does. As far as they know, he doesn't see him in there.
Yeah, he was still rounding down the stairs when he.
So
he was still the guy in skates with no weapon, taking out the 2 gun guards that were protecting Alexis somehow. Because he came through the window. Karate kicks Alexis. Alexis gets up, says, "Get him." The 2 guys with guns, one of them pulls it on Jonathan, but he manages to hero it. And then there's another guy with a gun coming up the stairs, and Jonathan manages to because suddenly he's like fucking like he said like Chuck Norris suddenly. He did up until now he's just rollerballed, but now he's suddenly like this fighter guy who can take out all these guards. And
and that's the thing about this character. How long has he been doing the rollerball thing? Was it 4 months?
maybe they don't really
Something
say,
like
but
that.
you get the idea that it's been less than a year.
But he's not, when we see him, he's not a badass. He's
No.
cocky, but he's like this, street kid who goes, butt skating. But after 4 months in this rollerball arena, you should understand A, that it's corrupt, B, that there are people dying all over the place, and C, that you're probably going to get your ass handed to you if you're not really tough. And at no point in this movie do we see him like transform or become the kind of grim and gritty version. He never becomes James Caan, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably because Caan's character, his Jonathan E, has been at it for something like 10 years or
Yeah,
something.
he was
Like, way,
yeah.
and this guy's been in it for 4 months. So I could see if this is supposed to be like an origin movie for Rollerball or something, as leading into that 75 version somehow. But this kid's not it. And you're right, Mark. The superheroics and the badassery he pulls off at the end of this movie, you don't understand where that came from at all in this film.
I would have more believed it if it was Aurora doing it. Aurora had bigger cojones than Jonathan Cross, and she, you believe, could have done that badassery stuff. This guy is literally the guy who knows how to throw a ball well, but you, even in that fight at the end to where they're trying to kill him and he just won't go down, which is earning the respect of everybody on the track, the bad guys and good guys. Even then, I'm not buying it. I'm like, this dude would have been like crushed like a freaking balsa wood a long time ago.
Easy fix. You have Jonathan swoop into the luxury box and take out the guards there. Jean Reno's character escapes, and then you have Aurora fly into the box too to give Jonathan backup, and she goes after him down those stairs into that lounge and takes care of business. Because then it's still ridiculous, but it's a bit more believable if it's more of a team effort.
Well, and if you have Aurora, what you would do then, here we go. Welcome to the part of the spoiler room where we rewrite the film. So here we go. So we have him crash in and he knocks out the guards in that. Say Sanjay's, not Sanjay, Alexis appears to be knocked out or whatever, but Sanjay takes a pot, whatever. Jonathan goes after Sanjay. He goes down. Aurora pops in to help. She sees that Alexis is not knocked out. He's going to go after Jonathan, who's not aware. Jonathan takes out Sanjay, right hand, like background guy who doesn't really have a whole lot. He's about to get killed by Alexis. Then Aurora comes in and kills Alexis, because Aurora killing Alexis makes more sense because she is the one who had been throughout the entire film saying, I don't get paid a lot. We only get this. Look at how my people are oppressed in this town that I live in as well. They're all oppressed by Alexis. He's doing the bad things. If she would have been the one to take him out, it would have been made far more sense. And save Jonathan at the same time. I would have liked that.
I like the idea of it. I don't think it makes sense to go after Sanjay.
That's true. Okay, yeah.
Because up until he has his heel turn,
yeah.
I mean, we've been watching him in these scenes with Alexis all throughout the movie, but Jonathan and that crew, they don't know him from Adam. He's just another executive. But what's interesting is what you bring up, Mark, the idea of this mining town. And the only other thing I thought was kind of interesting was the thing that kind of kicks off this revolution is there's the one kind of the beefcake character that I thought for the entire time was Andrew Bernarski, because they looks just like him, but it's actually it's the guy who's on the red team.
Right.
He goes out into the stands and he gets shot, I think, by one of
he gets killed by the guard. Yeah.
Right. And that the other miners, like his family is there, and they're like, that drives him crazy, and that incites the revolution. It's interesting what you had said there about my people are so oppressed. In terms of Aurora, what is the responsibility of these gladiators. They are getting paid to participate in this.
Well, not all of them.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. How do the people in their communities feel about that? Are they happy that someone is representing them? Are they bitter because perhaps they're getting paid whereas the miners are not? There's all sorts of fun class conflict stuff that you can do here that wasn't in the original movie, but if you're going to try and expand things or have a different take, you could kind of go that direction.
You could tell in this script that they are hinting at a class thing, but it is like afraid to go anywhere. It's hinted at the class thing with the mine thing. You only get that one. It's actually one of the scenes I actually enjoyed in this film was, unfortunately, the one guy on the red team who did come from the mining town where the rollerball arena is. He's the one that decides to help stand up on what's going on to Jonathan. The guards come up and shoot him dead, and suddenly the whole crowd goes silent, and they all start standing up. And you see the guards, the henchmen of Alexis start coming down the steps, and then people just start standing up, and you get that one guard who looked at the other guy, just the Chinese soldier guy or whatever. He just shook his head. No. They just kind of back away out of it, just like, don't shoot anybody.
and the other thing is people realize things or don't realize things based on what is needed at any point in the movie. Like LL Cool J and Chris Klein, the entire movie are like, the second that this gets really dangerous, we're going to get out of here. First fucking murder. Second murder. They try to kill Rebecca Romaine by making the gas in her of her bike leak, and then try to blow her up. That's the one that finally does it. That's the one that finally makes them realize, oh shit. And then there's the audience who the entire movie is watching this and see people being killed. And it's not until the very end they're like, oh shit, people are being killed.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anything, they should have been like cheering on the fact that one of their rollerball teammates got killed in the audience. Like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah, if you would have shown just that guy's family going, oh shit, like the realization of, oh my god, like obviously it was happening to everybody else, but we didn't think it would happen to our guy, and then that's why that family rebels. That would make sense.
Well, I mean, I think they were trying poorly to portray that everybody thought that like the deaths and that were just part of the sport, but not realizing that it was actually a setup and that these people were being intentionally killed by Alexis and his group. I think they were trying to maybe imply that's why they reacted like that, but it's not. That's just me with conjecture and my own overactive imagination. Because,
well, I mean, they don't really. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, this goes back to my problem with the ending of the original film. That audience was so bloodthirsty that it almost like the idea of Jonathan East sparking a revolution really does kind of come out of nowhere. If they want to do something in that realm with a remake, they could have done something really sick, which is you have the minor guy, the representative who's on the rollerball team, come out to try and say, hey, this is all corrupt, whatever. He gets shot by the guard. His family stands up and they try and start some shit, but the rest of the audience puts them down because they're like, hey, no, you're fucking up our show.
You could even have taken that, but that's in someone who actually cared about anything, not the people who wrote the script. We do have a comment here. We're going to pull over quick. Fuller Knights goes, as a barber, I love this show in real life in every stage of beard growth. There is every stage of beard growth.
Ian is neat and trimmed, and I'm just like, shaving, what's that?
And me, I can't grow a beard to save my life. So thanks, Polar Knights, for your comment. It had more thought in it than the script of Rollerball 2002. I think
unkempt. I just realized,
and I don't feel like the thing is I'm watching it going, this film should be better than it is, because you could see parts in here. It just doesn't. It doesn't even take the path of least resistance. It takes the path of no resistance. This film is so generic in so many ways, yet it thinks it's being cool, right? It thinks it's like the guy wearing the double reversible corduroy pants thinking he's cool.
What do you mean? Speaking of cool, I want to go back to something. What we were just talking about, that scene. The guy who gets shot is named Denny.
Denny, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
In a blatant callback to the original film, not in terms of theme, but just, something that people remember from it. In that movie, people start saying, Jonathan, right. Championing the Khan character. Here, when Denis gets killed, the audience starts shouting, Jonathan, why not Denis?
Yeah,
the guy who actually got martyred in front of everybody. So dumb.
Yeah,
there is one coolness thing. This had the generic 2000 soundtrack.
Yes.
You get Rob Zombie, you get POD,
Slipknot.
You get Slipknot, you get everybody that would have been on a soundtrack at any point in time. This is literally the soundtrack to every movie from this era.
With cameos by Pink.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, wait, is that her? Because was she even known back then?
She was just on the come up at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, 102. Yeah.
Had I seen this also at the time, I was a metalhead who was just already tired of Slipknot at that point, because I was like, I was the metalhead kid who was buying all the magazines and everything, and now every fucking heavy metal magazine had Slipknot on the cover, and every feature story was about Slipknot. I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah, you had POD in here as well. You had some weird God Bless America gimmick scene going on. Rob Zombie.
Are you reading the soundtrack artist right now?
Yep. So you had I don't know.
Rob Zombie.
Early 2000s. It's the folks that were playing on the radio, that's who did a song in this. Some got screen time. Slipknot got screen time because they look weird.
I was texted by a friend of mine who was at the Shinedown show last night. She's like, "Hey, are you at the show? I'd love to meet up and grab a drink with you." And I'm like, "No, I'm at home watching a movie that actually, now that I look at it, Shinedown might be on the soundtrack."
Dude, this is crazy. I know people who were also at the Shinedown show last night.
We're at that age. We're in that age group. It's like we all knew somebody at the Shinedown concert.
Dude, when the Metallica concert came through, I had my news feed blowing up with people throwing pictures up from various seats at the Metallica. I'm like, yes, we're all at that. Everybody was at that concert. I'm like, oh my God. So, but anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. So it wasn't in a dystopian future, though. It felt very dystopian watching it. It's Rollerball 2002. Watch the original, folks, is my final thought on it. This is the glossy, hey, no one's gonna care that we're not staying close to anything of the original. We're just gonna remake it because of the cool Rollerball concept. We're just gonna the sports concept. That's it. That's the way it felt like this. Like it was just a toss off, not care remake that they figured nobody pay attention to, and hey, we put good looking folks in there that get naked and a soundtrack and some blood. People will love it. So, Ian, what's your final thought with this?
I mean, first of all, what you just described there, I usually don't have any problem with, right?
Right.
But you make it, I'm all for nudity and violence, but you make it dull. The Rollerball in the original movie, that was like a character in and of itself. Would it get shot out in that one scene where the guy is injured and he falls right in the path of the ball, and you're like, oh my God. And then the spiked glove gauntlet to the catcher would have, I don't even think that was in this movie.
No, they just had big mitts to catch the glove.
Yeah, that's problem number one. Like the Rollerball, the focus, the aesthetics, like all of that, is that they don't care about any of that. The motto, the slogan on this movie poster is "Get in the game." You know, this most generic, nonsense. It might as well be a Mountain Dew commercial. My final thought, is watch the 75 Rollerball and then watch this movie, and it will give you a masterclass in everything that is wrong with remakes and modern filmmaking. And even though this movie is like almost 25 years old at this point, the problems buried in it that they continue to echo out into our IP driven, sequel and property obsessed Hollywood landscape today. It's a terrible, terrible movie. Everyone associated with it should be ashamed. And fortunately, most of the people associated with it seem to have either been retired or jailed or just drummed out of Hollywood. So I'll call that a win.
Joe, your final thought with Rollerball 2002.
Similar to Ian, although it is really weird to call this a remake because plot wise, it really had nothing to do with it. Either you or Ian said earlier, maybe this was meant to be like a prequel of sorts. Maybe like this is the origin of what we would get. Because the original Rollerball is set in the future, 2018.
Yeah.
So this would be, I guess, modern 2002.
Oh, yeah. Well, this was set in 2005. So
okay, so slightly. This is 3 years from now.
Wait, it's really set in 2005, like 3 years into the future.
The description is the big thing in 2005 is a violent sport, which can have some pretty serious consequences, like dying. That's the IMDb description.
There was nothing in this movie that indicated to me that this was set 10 minutes in the future, let alone 3 years. But hey, whatever. I think Ian sums it up. Watch the original, which is a masterpiece, and then watch this to just see like what it's like to just kind of strip it down of all its subtext and just make it into, like Mark has been saying, a generic, generic sports movie, violent sports movie.
It easily could have been any sport. I mean, any real sport this could have been. So any given Sunday, that's what it reminded me of.
You know what? Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of that.
The one thing that would have been interesting is if you take the 75 script and you give it to like Eli Roth. Ooh. Like have like really focus on the deaths and the carnage. I mean, I can imagine some guy like flying and like actually cutting someone in half as he like flies through the air, like through his midsection in 3D.
Yeah, in 3D. Well, you got to put it in 3D, obviously. Absolutely. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. Rollerball 2000. It's skate or die, and the track's gonna be very bumpy. No one put any polish on the track for the last films we're going to watch, but there should be interesting discussions. So
wait,
now
they're going to be worse. They're going to be worse than this, Mark.
Yes, probably.
The director of Hell Comes to Frogtown. What else has he done?
That might be a sell though, and the sequels, I think though.
Well, yeah, the sequels are pretty bad too.
Yeah, but the director Comes to Frogtown is not like a bad thing to me. I'm like, okay, I'm there.
But this is his shot on VHS era.
Yeah. Shot on video. We're going to get some shot on video goodness, folks, the next 2 weeks. So prepare yourselves accordingly.
I think these are both shot on VHS.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to be sure. And we'll see if my crew ever talks to me again after.
I feel like I might be a post assassination attempt moon pie by the end of this month. Yeah.
So Scott a couple of weeks ago said, Mark, this was a bad topic because there's not many good movies about this topic. Hey, and a lot of them are by Donald G. Jackson. Incidentally,
they can't all be good, but if they're like this discussion, I'm happy to watch them and discuss with you folks. So this is where I give my folks the license to shill, my crew members. So please shill away. Ian, you're first, sir.
Thank you. I'm Ian Simmons. I run Kicking the Seat, which you can find at kickseat.com and also right here on YouTube. Yeah, we do regular reviews and interviews and live streams and all that good stuff, including we're covering Alien Earth, the Disney FX Hulu TV series. Did episodes 1 and 2 last week, and this week we'll be talking about episode 3. Should be a lot of fun, more fun than the process of actually watching Alien Earth. So yeah, check us out.
There you go. And Joe, you got anything to promote? Shill?
Not for myself, but for my friend Sam Irvin, who we're going to try to get on to talk about it. He is putting out a book coming out next month, Confessions of a Brian De Palma Protege: How I Shadowed the Director on The Fury, Dressed to Kill, and More. It's going to be coming up in September. Sam worked with De Palma a lot in the late 70s and early 80s. And he's still a working director, too. He's a guy who literally is directing movies for TV. So there could be a lot of interesting stuff there. He directed Elvira's Haunted Hills in 2002. And the Oblivion movies for Full Moon. He did a lot of work for Full Moon in the 90s. So it'll be interesting. If we'll see if we can get him on. But it seems he's interested. We just got to work out the details. But yeah, again, the book is coming up in September. It's Confessions of a Brian De Palma Protege: How I Shadowed the Director on The Fury, Dressed to Kill, and More, by Sam Irvin. And yeah, it's coming in September, and it will be on Amazon. I don't know if it's already up yet, but
very cool. Very cool. So check all that out, folks, and specialmarkproductions.com. We're going to have, speaking of interviews, an interview this week with an indie filmmaker for a new film they've got coming out. I think it drops on VOD tomorrow or this week. It is We Are Not Safe Here, supernatural thriller. So that'll be a fun time talking to them. And yeah, I got more reviews coming. A lot of reviews coming. So we'll see what happens. So thank you all for watching Polar Nights. Thank you for your comment. Love the beard comment. I just will never be able to grow one. So thank you, everyone. And until next time, we'll just say good night, everyone.
Good night.